Isn't it beautiful? This has no cording. It's tuned to the central nervous system. I have two. Oh, does she? This goes well with a concert harp.
Will that get in the way of your arm?
Not picking it up. You want to tilt it this way, maybe?
It's a supercardioid, so we want to do it. You hit it this, yeah. So the sound hole's in the middle, so you want to get it pointed at the sound Here, let me try. All right, how about that? Try one more time.
Where do you want to sit? Over in our usual area? I can't hear what you're saying. You want to sit in our usual area? Where's Ruby? I don't know. I haven't seen her yet. Yeah, usual area is just fine. You left it the whole room.
My name is Jill Thompson, and I'll be your worship associate this morning. Welcome to those of you who are here with us in person at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Roanoke, Virginia. We extend a special welcome if you're joining us for the first time. We also say welcome to those of you who are joining us on YouTube. For those who are on YouTube, if you would like to share during the Lifelines part of the service, please put your comments and requests in the chat feature in the next 15 minutes, and they can be added to that part of the service. Minister is the Reverend Walter LaFleur, and he's away on summer sabbatical. Despite what it says in our order of service, he will not be doing the sermon today. This morning's service is called Sound Healing, Good Vibes. And our speaker is the Reverend Marianne Walker. Marianne is an interfaith minister, certified sound healer, master prosperity teacher, and Reiki master teacher. She's been providing these and other life-affirming services in Florida and Virginia since the late 1990s. Marianne's life mission is to provide the tools, opportunity, and space for each person to discover and experience their own magnificence, finding their way to well-being, prosperity, and joy. And a last reminder for all of us, please silence your cell phones. If you'd like, please join us in speaking the words of welcome and the covenant. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you express your identity, whatever your situation in life, whatever your experience of the holy, as you come seeking love, your presence here is a gift. Whether you are filled with sadness, overflowing with joy, needing to be alone with yourself, or eager to engage with others, all who welcome all are welcome here. We commit to supporting each other with respect and direct communication as we work in community to explore spiritual growth and to be a force for good in the world.
Lovely. Good morning. We gather today with open hearts and minds, ready to deeply consider how wonderfully sound and vibration affect our lives. We ask that we may be uplifted and inspired by these concepts. May we be filled with love and grace, honoring all who cross our path today and always.
Our chalice lighting this morning is by Marnie Singer, found on the UUA website. The chalice is the container, the space where the musicians and the listeners gather. The oil is the fuel, the hours of practice and the life experiences of everyone in the room. The wick is the instruments and vocal cords through which the music will flow. And the The flame is the music which is created as if by magic when the instruments are lifted, the breath is inhaled, and the downbeat is nodded. May this flame ignite the music within us all. May the love
Expand Faith Development here at UUCR, and I'd like to invite up all young people, young at heart. Y'all come forward. I've got some really cool stuff to share with you today. So this morning, the adults are, y'all scoot over here, because you might want to see what I'm doing, even though I'm going to ask you to listen to it. This morning, the adults are learning about sound and how sound and vibration can help us and heal us. And I thought I'd bring you guys some of my favorite sounds that make my heart happy. The first one, this may be familiar to some of you. This belongs to my friend Asa. I want you to hear this. How would you describe this sound? Sandy. Falling sand onto sand. Ooh, I like that. Relaxing. If I could just listen to this nonstop, it'd be pretty relaxing. Another sound that I brought is this one. It's kind of a silly sound, but it reminds me of having tea with my friends and my grandmother, and there's nothing more satisfying than finding the place where the teacup rests. So there's no tea in it. Don't worry. How might you describe this sound? Two objects hitting each other? Silly. Does it sound like anything else in your imagination? No, it just sounds like a teacup. That whole time I was kind of missing the spot, so let's put it right where it goes. I have this sound. What you got, Emmett? The ocean. Do you know what this is? It's a basket full of beads. It sounds like cereal. Digging your hand in. One of my favorite things to do is put my hand in a big thing of beads or put my hand in a big thing of beans. Feel all those smooth little pieces. And it's such a nice sound that could be so many other things. It's another one that if I could listen to it for hours and hours, I would sleep all night long. And the last sound that I brought you what does that sound like? A marker. I love to draw. I love to, now you can't really see what I did because I used a highlighter on an orange piece of paper, but it's about the sound. Do you guys have a favorite sound? Did you like any of these sounds? Which ones did you like? The balloon, the sand, the beads, the ocean. Yeah, this was a good one. This was a fun one. This one reminds me of nights sitting up with my aunt who was a cheerleader, and she would make posters and put them on lockers. And now they didn't have a printer. This is the 1980s. We couldn't just like print things like you guys can now. So she would make poster after poster, and I felt so safe and comforted when I was sitting up with my aunt. So this sound of the marker on the paper reminds me of those moments. We're going to head upstairs for Jedi Academy, but I'm also going to challenge you to think of a favorite sound that we can tell all these folks after Jedi Academy. Sound good?
Go now
Today's reading is called The Power of Sound Meditation by Anthony Profeta. Something indicated in many readings, and which had a very profound impact on me, was the teaching that vibrations, especially those of music, could be a way to physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. In fact, many readings indicate that music lessons, listening to specific types of instruments, and even listening to specific classical compositions could revitalize the structure of the body at an atomic level. The ancient Hindu texts say that the sound of Om is the power that started and continues the creation process. The Judeo-Christian Bible states that, in the beginning, God said, "Let there be light." This verse also seems to imply that it was sound which gave rise to creation. Shamans throughout the world use the sound of the voice and other instruments to get into an altered state, while the Islamic Sufis invoke the aid of music to help them transcend and connect to the divine. Therefore, it seems that the energy of sound and music have always been known to have a profound effect over the mind and body. You probably have even experienced it yourself. For example, did you ever turn on the radio and the song that's playing made you want to get up and dance? Or perhaps it filled you with emotion and moved you to tears. If you have, then you know that music and sounds have the ability to touch the deepest parts of our being. For this reason, many refer to music as the language of the soul. And because of this, some traditions say that of all the art forms, music is the most sacred because it is the art which expresses the inexpressible. For example, the art of painting relies on visual form. Poetry is an art which relies on words suggestive of form, but only music raises the mind and soul above external forms and allows it to touch that which is formless. And so, one could say that music is the bridge between the physical and the spiritual.
Good morning. She covered everything I was going to say. I'm finished. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you today to talk about sound healing and the good vibes that it promotes. For centuries, whenever people wanted to feel connected to spirit or that deeper part of themselves, sound and music have been used to open the way and enhance the experience. Today, right here, we're using music already. We had music of lovely opening music, music for lighting the chalice. We sang the children out, which is so beautiful. I just love that. So, and after my talk, we'll have music during the offertory, the prayer, and then music to close the service. Can you imagine the service without music? Do you think it would be as meaningful and uplifting? Music is part of the service because it opens our hearts, brings us together as community, and moves us beyond the ordinary moment. We take those feelings with us when we leave, and we continue to send that message of music out into the world. Another reason that music is used is it creates a point of focus. The intent of our focus to feel lifted up and connected forms an energy grid that taps into other levels of consciousness. What the ancient mystics always knew, that everything is in a state of vibration. Vibration creates sound, has now been proven by science after all these thousands of years. So it's now known that all vibration can be perceived as sound. From the tiniest little atom to the distant galaxies, everything is creating movement. Our heart beats a steady rhythm that you can hear. Our blood hums along in our veins. And the vibration from these sounds is perceived, or the vibration from this movement is perceived as sound. Someone told me recently that one of our spaceships recorded the sounds in space. We always thought it was silent, right? The sound, they said, could only be described as ethereal. So even in space, which we thought was silent, we have sound. Vibration is sound. Sound can often be music. Sound has energy and intent. Has anyone ever done any chanting or repeating of mantras? Yes, okay. Has anyone ever heard the chanting of the Gregorian monks? That is amazing and mesmerizing, and it takes you to another place, doesn't it? So chanting and repeating mantras is known to quiet the mind and create a point of focus. So whatever your intention, this allows you to create the space for the intention to be realized. I know I'm dating myself, but does anyone remember the long distance phone ad, reach out and touch someone? One of the precepts of Unitarian Universalist is creating community. And when you speak to someone, what are you doing? You're creating a connection, creating community. And that's presuming that the connection is done in love and respect. In those moments of connection through speaking, we're sending out the vibration of sound, touching the other person with our voice or touching others. We can be more aware of the vibrations we send out by considering our words. It's a reminder to choose our words carefully before we speak. I saw a comment on Facebook the other day. It said, "I never think before I speak. I like to be just as surprised as the other person by what comes out of my mouth." I laughed for a long time at that. However, it gave me pause, since I don't know if this happens to you. Sometimes things just fly out of my mouth before I can stop them, and the results are not always good. So I know that that doesn't happen to you. So just be more careful, more aware of what you're saying, because that vibration literally touches the people that you're speaking to. One point of great interest I learned at a sound healing class was that the interiors of the great cathedrals are similar in their structure to the structure and shape of the roof of your mouth. Pretty amazing, isn't it? Our mouths are designed to create the sounds that we speak or sing, and the roof of the mouth is an upward curve which rounds out sound and creates vibration. If you put your hands up to your face while you're talking, you can feel the vibration, can't you? So those cathedrals with those high curved ceilings were built to expand and enhance music and singing. And since it's very similar to our upper palate, sound and music are amplified. Concert halls also are built with the high rounded ceilings. And these synchronicities just astound me. Did you know that Freddie Mercury of Queen would not have his protruding front teeth corrected because he was afraid it would interfere with his 4-octave vocal range, because it would change the shape of his mouth? He knew that the shape of his mouth and teeth were contributors to that range, and I believe that he was correct. So if one aspect of sound is music, when we listen to music, what are we doing? We're using it as a tool to lift our spirits, provide comfort, make a moment special, and or make us feel happy, joyful, free. The music and songs in movies and TV programs are very specially chosen for what's going on, whatever it might be. Happy, sad, suspenseful, violent. Same with online games. Imagine playing an online game with no sound. That wouldn't be very fun, would it? So you can see that sound and music are so much a part of our lives that we don't even notice it a lot of times, even though it affects us so deeply. And it can be very healing. Now, when I mentioned earlier about speaking, creating a connection, sometimes, sadly, it can be a negative connection. And although we may not be able to stop it in the moment, if we don't feel good after a conversation, the chanting and meditation I mentioned earlier can open the channels for us to let go of those unpleasant feelings. Using a mantra or a chant spoken softly to ourselves can be very helpful. Humming a tune or just humming affects the vagus nerve, which affects your parasympathetic nervous system and helps you to relax and feel better. Also, going out in nature without your phone or earbuds and listening to the sounds of nature. Running water is wonderful. Out by the river, by the ocean. All of those are soothing and calming, and sound is healing. So the intention of the universe is for us to vibrate together as one. For example, if you, this concept is called entrainment. Those of you who are musicians in the room know that term. So if I were to place a stringed instrument on that side of the room and another one over there and pluck one string on one of them, the one on the other side of the room, the same note would begin to vibrate. That's what entrainment is. And this shows the intention of the universe for us to vibrate as one and to vibrate in harmony. Sound and music are the vehicles that can bring us closer to that intention. All through history, as stated in the reading, there's evidence of how song, sound, and chanting have been used to connect us with each other and whatever our concept of the divine is. In the Judeo-Christian Bible, it talks about how King Saul had David play his harp because it helped with King Saul's depression. Now, scientists and doctors are finding, oh yes, certain notes, certain instruments can affect the brain in such a way that it can help with depression. Now, in India, the sitar is the instrument of choice. You don't hear too much about it anymore, but it uses the power of ancient notes and focused meditation to bring the energy of specific deities into the room. In the Aboriginal and Native American tribes, drumming and chanting were and still are used in ceremony to elevate the spirit, create community, and bring them on that altered state that allows a connection. Anyone here done drumming? It's wonderful. Takes you to another place. So today we have a lot of sound healing choices. They're numerous, including your voice. Jonathan Goldman, is anyone here familiar with Jonathan Goldman? He's the father of sound healing. He started with developing sound healing in the 70s, and he has written many books. He's traveled all over the world, and that's who I studied with for my sound healing certification. He says you can just use your voice. Now, I use an auto harp. You see it sitting there. I actually have two. It has no cording. It's tuned to the central nervous system or the chakras, whichever term you're comfortable with. And I also use my voice. In fact, when I was doing a sound healing, I was singing, and I learned at sound healing school that what I was doing was toning. I'm like, oh, I'm already doing it. So just intuitively, I knew to do it. So I was introduced to the harps in 2002. It's a wonderful story of synchronicity, and the short version is I bought it to enhance my own spiritual growth and personal healing. And since then, it has evolved into what I'm doing now, which is individual sound healing sessions with a variety of instruments and sound immersion, which we'll be having after the service today. So once you've experienced music and sound as a vehicle to alter your consciousness, that energy, that vibration becomes a part of you. You need only think about it to have those feelings again. People who have had a sound healing session or been to a sound immersion have told me that just thinking about it, they can feel those feelings again, hear those sounds again, because that energy is imprinted on their cells, and they're forever affected by the sound of it. So how do you respond to different types of music? What music do you resonate with? What music takes you to another place? When I was a kid, I loved musicals. I thought it would be great to just sing my way through life. You know, we'd probably have a lot less war and violence if everybody just went around singing everything, right? So it would change all the vibrations and we'd have peace and harmony. So, like me, you've probably used music to lift you up, bring you comfort, or bring peace in troubled times. Until I found the harps, I hadn't thought about sound and music as healing, although I'd been using it for that purpose my whole life. Since they've come to me, I've been using it as an instrument to connect with others and bring a sense of wholeness and healing to them. So the link between sound and creative intent is very apparent, as was in the reading. In the Judeo-Christian Bible and other things, it said in the beginning was the word, okay, and the word is sound. So we don't know exactly what that word was, but as stated in the reading, in Hinduism, the sound of Om is said to be the vehicle of manifestation and creation. In Australian Aboriginal culture, they believe the ancestors dreamed of all creation and sung it into existence along thought energy lines. Those thought energy lines of the Aboriginal culture are the magnetic ley lines of the earth. So even before science, these people knew about these things. So in all the tales of creation, it's sound that was the first and most basic form of intention and creation. And it is the vehicle that's moved energy from the realm of potential to the realm of manifestation. Just like the sounds of the whales under the ocean, our sound streams are carried on the waves of the vibrations we send out. Those sound stream vibrations attract to us people and experiences that resonate with our vibration. Wonder what your vibration is? What your vibrations are? Look around. What is in your life? Just like the whale calls for its mate, so you call on levels you may not even be aware of for ones like yourself. There was a time I had no idea of these things. I wasn't aware that my vibrations were creating experiences, and as far as I knew, it was other forces, other people causing the mess in my life. Am I alone in this? Oh, it wasn't until I was exposed to the alternative teachings of various spiritual paths that I learned the importance of my thoughts and words, sound, vibration, and intent, and how they interact and attract. As I began to understand this, the intention to change my vibration was formed, and I chose to move from thoughts resonating with fear, anger, and limitation to thoughts resonating with self-love, tolerance, compassion, and kindness. My life is totally different now. So, affirmations, are you familiar with affirmations? Do any of you use them? Okay, I use them also. And people like Bruce Lipton and Greg Braden, has anyone heard of them? Okay, these are scientists and doctors that are writing books that are providing scientific basis for all of the theories that are shown to be true on sound and vibration. Hello? Reach out and touch someone. So affirming, especially if you speak it out loud and pair it with music, gives you the double vibration of your voice, speaking the affirmation with intent, and the music and training with the vibration of your voice to create the outcome that you are looking for. All that stuck energy in whatever form is moved, and your sound stream resonates at a higher level, and your vibrational field is cleansed and re-energized. This afternoon, we're having a sound immersion. We will use intention and sound as a tool to move energy. It's an opportunity to experience some of what we've been talking about today. Has anyone here been to a sound bath or a sound immersion? A few, okay. So the healing power of sound and vibration is no matter where you are or what is going on in your life, it's beneficial. So be good to yourself and join us. You don't need to be looking for healing to join us. Just come for the experience. At the very least, you'll feel more relaxed and energized. Music and sound are of the word. Your thoughts, your words, your inner song stream is an expression of your ability to create and heal. What vibes are you sending out on your song lines? What would you like to create or heal in your world? You can do it with sound. Thank you.
Thank you, Marianne. That was lovely. The work of this church requires the time, talent, and treasure of so many people. As we collect today's offering, know that your generous gifts will go towards furthering the mission of our church.
I'm Jane Harrison, wow, from the Caring Committee. One of the things we do, one of the many things we do is we share the joys and concerns of the congregation. And Sunday morning, if you would like to have your joy or concerns shared, you can call the church office, you can tell somebody from the Caring Committee, or you could write it in the Lifelines book, which is kept in the, next to where the name tags in the foyer. For a joy today, good news. River Morning, and I hope I say this right, Olivia Hall started dating 1 year ago on August 1st. They've been celebrating, I understand. Okay. If you have a secret joy or a concern that you want to address, we would like for you to come at this point on each side of the altar and light a candle to express your needs and joys. Okay. Help me.
We have a few announcements that are listed in our order of service, so I won't bore you by reading all of those. But I would like to remind you that Marianne is going to be holding sound healing in the Olin Room on a donation basis after the service today at 12:30. And I was asked to highlight the blood drive this Wednesday from 10 to 1:45. There are still several spots open, and there is a critical need for blood during the height of summer. Please consider donating, and you can contact Ann Hackworth or Bob Egbert to set up an appointment. And finally, Sherry Bernath has an announcement about the upcoming service auction.
Just a couple of quick things. If you've been reading notices in the newsletter and so on and so forth, the auction probably will happen as a live event on November 11th. We still need everyone who received an Evite who have not responded to respond, because we are trying to get a head count to know how many folks will be willing to commit to being here live. So if you got the Evite, please let us, and you haven't responded, please let us know. And anyone who would like to, who doesn't know about the auction or did not get an Evite, please see me after the service during coffee hour, and I will get your email address and you'll get one. The other thing is that even though I'm ready to take any donations anybody has, the official period for donation starts on the 15th of August, runs to October 1st. And I have got our standard donation forms, copies of those with me today. And again, I'll be in the small sanctuary during coffee hour if you would like a form to fill out. You can email me with what you got. You don't have to fill out a form, whatever, but just we have forms for anyone who's maybe new to it and just has not done it before. So service auction, big fundraiser for the church. We need your support.
Thank you. That was wonderful, especially the ending. So today, my friends, as you leave here and go forth out into the world, your song, your good vibes are a very powerful tool to bless and transform the world. So let your song, those good vibes, bless the world with joy, love, hope, and healing. Amen.